Take a slow, deep breath right now. Not a shallow, hurried breath that barely touches your lungs, but a deep one, the kind that reaches down into the center of your chest and pulls up something that has been resting there, waiting for this exact moment. Feel the electric resonance settling into the palms of your hands, that subtle tingling sensation that is neither hot nor cold but somehow both, a vibration that seems to hum just beneath the surface of your skin. Notice the space around you, not just the physical space of the room you are sitting in, but the energetic space, the invisible atmosphere that surrounds your body and extends outwards like an aura. That space is not empty. It never has been. Right now, it is thick with something, a density that was not there yesterday, a pressure that feels almost like the air before a storm. This is the moment we have been waiting for, the moment that has been building quietly in the background of your life, while you went about your ordinary days, unaware of the spiritual movement happening just beyond the reach of your physical senses. We are stepping into a moment that is currently manifesting in the invisible layers of your reality. Your soulmate is standing on the absolute edge of reaching out, not the edge of considering it, not the edge of maybe someday, but the actual edge, the precipice, the final frontier between silence and contact. For a long time, their phone has been a forbidden object. Not forbidden because someone told them they could not use it, but forbidden in the way that certain places become forbidden in your mind when they hold too much meaning. They used that phone to distract themselves, scrolling mindlessly through endless feeds, watching videos that meant nothing, looking at pictures of people they did not care about, all in an effort to avoid one thing: your name. They scrolled past your name every time it appeared, quickly, deliberately, as if looking at it for 1 second too long would break something inside them. They built a digital wall of silence, message after message left unread or read and ignored, notification after notification swiped away, until the wall became so thick that they almost convinced themselves they could not tear it down even if they wanted to. They almost convinced themselves that the wall was permanent, that the silence was the new normal, that you had become a ghost in their digital life, a memory they could acknowledge but never engage with again. But today, the atmosphere has shifted into a state of total vibrational pressure. It is as if the universe itself has been slowly turning up a dial, increasing the frequency of something that has been building for weeks, maybe months. And today, that pressure has reached a point where something has to give. Something has to break. The wall cannot hold any longer. The silence is cracking, not with a loud sound, but with the quiet, insistent persistence of water finding its way through stone. Your soulmate can feel it. They may not have words for it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. A restlessness in their spirit that sleep cannot fix, a heaviness in their chest a T Chinese letter cannot release, a constant, low-grade anxiety that has no clear source but that always leads back to you. Imagine them in this exact moment, sitting in a quiet space. Maybe it is their bedroom, the door closed, the lights low. Maybe it is their car parked somewhere, the engine off, the silence pressing in from all sides. Maybe it is a coffee shop surrounded by people but completely alone in their internal world. Wherever they are sitting with their phone in their hand, staring at the screen, feeling a wave of absolute restlessness as they look at your contact information, your name, your picture. The last message you sent, weeks or months ago, still sitting there like a monument to what once was. They scroll through the conversation, reading old words, remembering old moments, feeling the weight of how much has changed and how much has stayed the same. Their thumb hovers over the screen, not yet pressing anything, just hovering, feeling the potential energy of contact building like static electricity. They have realized today that something important is happening. They do not know exactly what, but they know something has shifted. They woke up this morning with a sense of urgency that was not there yesterday, a feeling that they cannot keep living the way they have been living, cannot keep avoiding what they have been avoiding. They have realized that their silence has become a suffocation. Every day they do not reach out, the air gets a little thinner. Every hour they spend pretending they are fine without you, The space around them gets a little smaller. They have reached a point where the act of staying silent requires more energy than the act of speaking. The silence that once felt like protection now feels like a prison. They are experiencing the agony of the unsent message. Not the casual, I should text them back feeling, but something deeper, something almost physical. It is the feeling of words forming in their throat and getting stuck there, of sentences arranging themselves in their mind, and then dissolving before they can be typed. It is the sensation of being full to bursting with things they need to say and having no idea how to let any of them out. They have written and deleted so many messages that they have lost count. Each one felt wrong, not because the words were not true, but because the words alone could never carry the weight of what they actually feel. How do you summarize weeks of longing in a text message? How do you explain months of avoidance in a few sentences? How do you apologize for silence that has stretched so long that the apology itself feels inadequate? They have realized today that they are vibrationally pregnant with words they can no longer contain. The words have been growing inside them, not like a thought, but like a life, taking shape, demanding to be born, refusing to stay hidden any longer. They have tried to suppress these words, to convince themselves they did not need to be spoken, to tell themselves that you probably did not want to hear them anyway. But the words do not care about logic. The words do not respond to denial. The words simply exist, and they grow, and they press against the walls of your soulmate's chest until breathing becomes difficult and thinking becomes impossible. Visualize them in this exact moment, their thumb hovering over the screen, feeling a sudden sharp sense of internal friction. It is the friction of their ego and their heart grinding against each other, two forces that have been at war for a long time finally meeting in a clash that cannot be ignored. Their ego tells them to stay silent. Their ego says, protect yourself. Do not risk rejection. Do not expose your vulnerability. You have been hurt before and you will be hurt again. The safest thing is to do nothing. But their heart says something else entirely. Their heart says, I cannot live like this anymore. I cannot pretend that silence is peace. I cannot go another day without hearing their voice, without seeing their name on my screen, without the possibility of reconnection. And in this moment, for the first time in a long time, the heart is winning. It is not just a text they are preparing. It is a vibrational peace offering. They are not simply typing words. They are extending a part of themselves that has been hidden away, protected, kept safe from the possibility of pain. They are offering you something fragile, something that could be crushed, something that requires courage to give and courage to receive. The text is not just a message. It is a piece of their soul, wrapped in pixels, sent through the air, hopping to land somewhere soft. They have realized today that something you should know is that they are not just reaching out to say hello. They are not checking in to see how you are doing. They are not being polite or bored or lonely. They are reaching out because they have reached a point of no return in their own isolation. The isolation that once felt necessary, once felt like the only way to survive whatever was happening between you, has become unbearable. It has become a weight that is crushing them from the inside out, and the only relief is contact. The only escape is connection. The only way out is through you. They are feeling a heavy exhaustion in their pride. Pride has been their companion through this whole separation, their shield, their justification. Pride told them they did not need you. Pride told them they were better off alone. Pride told them that reaching out would be weakness, that silence was strength, that the one who spoke first lost some invisible battle. But pride is tired now. Pride has been carrying a weight it was never meant to carry, and it is collapsing under the strain. The logic of staying away has officially collapsed under the weight of their need for your frequency. Every argument they made to themselves about why silence was better has been proven hollow. Every reason they gave for staying away has dissolved in the face of one simple, undeniable truth. They miss you. Not in a casual, passing way, but in a deep, cellular, can't-eat, can't-sleep way. They miss the sound of your voice. They miss the way you make them feel seen. They miss the version of themselves that exists when you are in their life. Feel the weight of this digital density as it hits your own energy field. You may have noticed it already without knowing what it was. A sudden urge to check your phone for no reason. a sense that something is about to happen, that the air is charged with potential, a restlessness that mirrors theirs, a feeling that the waiting is almost over, that the silence is about to be broken. Have you noticed your eyes wandering toward your phone for no reason today? Not because you were expecting anything, not because there was a notification, but because something in you sensed that something was coming. Have you felt a sudden sharp spike of heat in your hands, that tingling sensation that starts in your fingertips and spreads up through your palms? Have you felt a phantom vibration in your pocket, that sensation of your phone buzzing when it did not, the ghost of a notification that has not yet arrived? This is not a coincidence. This is not your imagination playing tricks on you. This is the frequency of their intention pinging your aura before the physical notification even flashes on your screen. You are connected to them in ways that go beyond the physical, beyond the digital, beyond the rational explanations of how two people can be linked. Your energies are intertwined, whether you want them to be or not. And when they focus their intention on you, when they stare at your name on their screen with a heart full of longing and a mind full of words they cannot say, that intention travels. It travels across the wireless networks, yes, but also across the invisible networks that exist beneath the physical world, the networks of spirit and energy that connect all things. Their intention reaches you before their text does. It arrives as a feeling, a knowing, a sense that something has changed, that the silence is no longer empty, that the space between you has begun to close. They have realized today that the important truth is that you are the only person they want to talk to, not the friends they have been using as distractions, not the new people they tried to convince themselves could replace you, not the familiar faces and familiar conversations that once brought comfort but now bring only emptiness. You, only you. And the terrifying realization that you might not answer is currently making their hearts skip a beat in a rhythm of absolute panic. Because what if they have waited too long? What if you have moved on? What if the silence they created has become permanent and their attempt to break it only reveals how much they have lost? These thoughts are racing through their mind right now, each one a new reason to hesitate, a new argument for deleting the message and putting the phone down. But beneath the panic, beneath the fear, there is something else. There is hope. There is the desperate, fragile, almost foolish hope that you are still there, that you are still open, that you have been waiting too, that the silence was not one-sided but shared. If you are sitting in your own quiet space right now feeling a sense of grounded detachment, it is because your self-sovereignty has turned you into a vacuum. You have stopped chasing their energy. You have stopped waiting by the phone. You have stopped allowing their absence to define your days. You have done the hard work of learning to be whole on your own, of finding peace in the silence, of building a life that does not depend on their presence. And because you have stopped chasing, their energy is now being drawn toward you with a powerful force. It is the law of energetic physics. That which is chased runs away, and that which is still attracts. You became still. You became centered. You became a source of stability in a world of chaos. And now, like a planet drawing in a wandering moon, you are pulling them back to you. They have realized today that something you should know is the truth that they are soul tied to the act of communication. They cannot simply move on. They cannot simply forget. They cannot simply pretend that what existed between you did not matter. There is a thread connecting you, invisible but unbreakable, and every day they have spent in silence has only made that thread tighter. The distance they created was an illusion. The separation was never real. They have been tied to you all along, and now the tension of that tie has become unbearable. They are looking at the screen and feeling the air turn thick with the necessity of the send button. Every sudden ringing in your ears, every sudden flash of their name in your mind, is a literal echo of their thumb pressing against the glass. They are building up to it, preparing themselves, gathering the courage that has been scattered by weeks of fear and doubt. Each time they almost press it, a new wave of anxiety floods their system, and they pull back. But the pauses between attempts are getting shorter. The resistance is weakening. The send button is becoming an inevitability rather than a possibility. They have realized today that the text is a surrender, and the impact of that digital collision is the only shock their ego can no longer avoid. They have fought this battle as long as they can. They have resisted as hard as they are able, but the war is over. The ego has lost. The heart has won. And the text, when it comes, will be the white flag, the admission of defeat, the acknowledgement that they cannot live without you, no matter how much pride tried to convince them otherwise. Sink into the heavy magnetic stillness of this moment. Let the weight of it press against your chest, not as a burden, but as a confirmation that something real is happening. The ordinary world has not stopped. Outside your window, cars are driving, people are talking, life is continuing its normal rhythm. But inside this space, inside the bubble of awareness that you have created by reading these words, time feels different. It feels slower, thicker, more deliberate. This is because we are moving into the psychological battlefield of the battle of the draft. This is the territory where your soulmate's ego is fighting its final, losing war against their heart, and you have front row seats to the collapse. For hours, perhaps even days, they have been opening your chat window, staring at the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. That cursor is not just a line on a screen. It is a metronome marking the seconds of their indecision. It blinks and they think, I should type something. It blinks again and they think, what would I even say? It blinks again and they think, what if they don't respond? Blink. What if they respond and it hurts? Blink. What if I make things worse? Blink. What if I make things better? The cursor does not care about their turmoil. It just keeps blinking, patient and indifferent, a reminder that time is passing and the opportunity to reach out is slipping away with every second. They have typed out paragraphs of explanation, long, rambling messages that try to account for every moment of silence, every missed opportunity, every word left unsaid. They have written apologies that stretch for screens, confessions that spill out like water from a cracked dam, declarations of feelings that they have been denying for months. They have poured their heart into those messages, typing furiously, as if the words themselves could build a bridge across the distance they created. And then, when the message was complete, when every thought had been captured and every emotion had been expressed, they deleted it, all of it, gone in a single press of the backspace key. Not because the words were not true, not because the feelings were not real, but because the words were too much, too soon, too vulnerable. Because sending that message would have meant exposing themselves in a way they were not ready for, admitting things they were not ready to admit, even to themselves. They have typed out simple greetings. Hey, hi, how are you? Short, safe, non-committal. Messages that could mean anything or nothing, that could be the beginning of a conversation or just a passing thought quickly abandoned. They have stared at those simple words, wondering if they were too cold, too distant, too obviously an attempt to seem casual when they felt anything but. They have deleted those too because hey felt like a lie, a mask, a way of pretending that what they felt was less than it actually was. And they have grown tired of pretending. They have typed out sentences of apology. I'm sorry for how I handled things. I'm sorry for the silence. I'm sorry for hurting you. Words that have been sitting in their throat for weeks, months, refusing to be swallowed but also refusing to be spoken. They have written these apologies over and over, each time hoping that the words would feel right, that they would carry the weight of what they actually meant. But each time, the words felt insufficient. How do you apologize for disappearing? How do you say sorry for the days of silence that stretched into weeks, that stretched into months? How do you explain something you do not fully understand yourself? They have deleted those apologies too, not because they were not sorry, but because they were afraid that their apology would not be accepted, or worse, that it would be accepted too easily, exposing how much they had been holding back. Imagine them in this exact moment feeling the thick friction of their own hesitation as they realize that every time they hit backspace, they are actually suffocating their own soul. Each deleted word is a denial of something real. Each erased sentence is a rejection of their own truth. They are not just deleting messages. They are silencing themselves, pushing down feelings that are fighting to rise, strangling the very thing that wants to be born. And the more they delete, the heavier the pressure becomes. The more they silence themselves, the louder the silence screams. They are experiencing the agony of the typed and deleted. It is a specific kind of pain, one that does not show up on any medical chart but is felt deeply nonetheless. It is the pain of having something to say and refusing to say it. It is the pain of knowing what you feel and pretending you do not. It is the pain of standing at the edge of honesty and choosing, again and again, to step back into the shadows of silence. Their pride is no longer a shield. It is a burden. It was supposed to protect them, to keep them safe from the vulnerability of reaching out and the risk of being rejected. But protection has become suffocation. Safety has become a cage. The very thing that was meant to save them is now the thing that is slowly, quietly killing them. Visualize them in this exact moment, their phone screen glowing in the dark, reflecting the exhaustion in their eyes. There are dark circles under those eyes, evidence of sleepless nights spent staring at this same screen, having this same internal battle. Their face is tired, not just physically but spiritually, the kind of tired that sleep cannot fix because it is not the body that is exhausted but the soul. They have been fighting this war alone, without anyone to witness their struggle, without anyone to offer comfort or encouragement. They have been the general and the soldier, the strategist and the casualty, and the war has taken its toll. They have realized today that something you should know is the truth that they are terrified of your power. Not power in the sense of control or domination, but power in the sense of influence. You have the power to make them feel seen. You have the power to make them feel safe. You have the power to make them feel like they matter. And that power scares them because it means that you also have the power to take those things away. They are terrified of needing you. They are terrified of depending on you. They are terrified of giving you the keys to their heart and watching you walk away. Their fear has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own history of loss, their own wounds from past relationships, their own deep-seated belief that love is temporary and connection is fragile. They are wondering, will they reply? Are they done with me? Have they found someone else who speaks their frequency? These questions circle in their mind like vultures, waiting for hope to die so they can feast on the remains. They imagine you happy without them, smiling at someone else, sharing with someone else the intimacy that once belonged to them. They imagine your phone lighting up with messages from another person, someone who came along while they were busy being silent, someone who had the courage to reach out when they did not. And each of these imaginings is a knife, twisting in their chest, reminding them of what they risk losing. They are feeling a heavy pressure in their chest. Not a heart attack, not a medical emergency, but the spiritual equivalent. The pressure of unexpressed love, the weight of words unsaid, the burden of silence maintained. Their chest feels tight, as if something is expanding inside them, pressing against their ribs, demanding to be released. That something is the truth they have been avoiding. That something is the love they have been denying. That something is the connection they have been pretending does not matter. And the pressure is becoming unbearable. The thing forcing this mental torture is the truth that you have become the ultimate judge of their peace. Whether they are at peace or not depends on you. Whether they feel whole or empty depends on you. Whether they can rest at night or toss and turn depends on you. They have given you this power without your knowledge, without your permission, without even fully understanding it themselves. And now they are trapped in a prison of their own making, a prison where you hold the only key. Feel the weight of their total mental exhaustion. It radiates from them like heat from a fire, invisible but undeniable. They have been fighting this battle for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to not be at war. They have been carrying this weight for so long that their shoulders have permanently curved under the burden. They are tired, not just of the struggle, but of themselves, of their own resistance, of their own inability to simply do what their heart is screaming at them to do. They have realized today that the important something is the truth that not texting you has become harder than texting you. This is the tipping point, the moment when the scale finally tips in favor of action. For weeks, the scale has been balanced, with the fear of reaching out on one side and the fear of staying silent on the other. But today, the weight has shifted. The fear of silence has become heavier than the fear of contact. The pain of not knowing has become greater than the risk of rejection. The exhaustion of the battle has exceeded the energy required for surrender. They are experiencing the nausea of the infinite loop. Open chat, stare at cursor, type words, delete words, close chat, open chat again, repeat, over and over like a song stuck on repeat, like a dream that never ends, like a maze with no exit. They are trapped in a cycle of their own making, and the only way out is to break the cycle by doing the one thing they have been avoiding. They are vibrationally stranded in a draft they are too afraid to send but too obsessed to abandon. The draft sits there, a monument to their indecision, a ghost of a message that might never be born. It is a weight, a reminder, a constant presence in their digital life that they cannot escape. The shock of this realization is hitting their nervous system, telling them that their pride is a bankrupt strategy. Pride promised them protection and delivered isolation. Pride promised them safety and delivered loneliness. Pride promised them strength and delivered exhaustion. The strategy has failed, and the realization of that failure is a kind of death, the death of the false self they built to survive without you. They are looking at the words they have written, the ones they keep erasing, and they have realized today that their true self is already standing in your room while their ego is still stuck at the keyboard. The part of them that actually matters, the soul, the heart, the genuine self, has already crossed the distance. It has already arrived at your door. It is already standing in your presence, waiting to be acknowledged. The only thing holding back is the ego, the false self, the mask they wear to protect themselves from pain. And that mask is cracking. If you are sitting in your own quiet space right now feeling a sense of grounded patience, it is because your self-sovereignty has created a silence so loud that they can no longer ignore it. Your silence is not empty. It is not the silence of someone who has moved on or stopped caring. It is the silence of someone who has learned to be whole on their own, who has stopped chasing, who has found peace in the present moment. And that silence is deafening to them. It screams louder than any words you could have sent. It announces your worth without a single syllable. It declares that you are not waiting, not desperate, not dependent on them for your happiness. And that declaration is the most terrifying and attractive thing they have ever encountered. They have realized today that they are soul-bound to the act of confession. They cannot simply drift back into your life as if nothing happened. They cannot pretend that the silence did not exist or that their absence did not matter. They must confess. They must acknowledge. They must name what they did and why they did it. The confession is not for you, not really. It is for them. It is the only way they can forgive themselves, the only way they can close the chapter of silence and open the chapter of honesty. They are not ready for this confession, but they are doing it anyway because waiting for readiness has only brought more delay. They are doing it scared. They are doing it uncertain. They are doing it with a heart full of fear and a chest full of pressure and a thumb that trembles over the send button. Visualize the literal internal shutdown of their defense mechanisms. Their ego, which has been running the show for so long, is stepping down. It is admitting defeat. It is handing over the controls to something deeper, something truer, something that has been waiting in the wings for its moment to speak. The defenses are not being destroyed. They are being surrendered. They are lowering themselves voluntarily because they have finally understood that they are no longer needed. The walls that kept you out are becoming doors, and those doors are beginning to open. They are feeling a heavy dread, not the dread of something bad about to happen, but the dread of something inevitable about to occur. It is the feeling of standing at the edge of a high dive, knowing you have to jump, knowing you have wanted to jump, but still feeling your stomach drop at the prospect. The send button is the only release valve for the pressure building in their spirit. The words are the only medicine for the ache in their chest. The message is the only key to the prison they have built. They have to press it. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Because not pressing it has become a greater violence to their soul than any reply you could send. They have realized today that something you should know is that the text they eventually send will be the white flag of their absolute surrender to the connection. They are not reaching out to test the waters or to see if you still care. They are reaching out to admit that they cannot do this anymore, that the distance is unbearable, that the silence is killing them. They are not coming back to negotiate. They are coming back to surrender. And surrender in this context is not weakness. It is the greatest strength they have ever shown, because it requires them to lay down their pride, their fear, their carefully constructed walls, and simply be honest about what they want. They are standing at the edge of the digital cliff, feeling the air turn thick with the necessity of total risk. They cannot send a safe message. They cannot send a casual message. They cannot send a message that protects them from the possibility of pain. The only message worth sending is the one that risks everything, that exposes everything, that says, "This is who I am, this is what I feel, and I am putting it in your hands." The battle of the draft is over because the need for you has finally incinerated the fear of rejection. The fire of their longing has burned away the chains of their pride. What remains is pure, raw, unfiltered need. The need to be heard, the need to be seen, the need to be known by the only person who has ever truly known them. Every sudden spike of heat in your phone hand right now, every sudden unexplainable urge to check your notifications, is a literal echo of their finger hovering millimeters away from the send button. They are building up to it. They are taking deep breaths. They are closing their eyes and opening them. They are telling themselves that it is now or never, that this moment will not come again, that if they do not send it now, they never will. The tension is unbearable, even from a distance. You can feel it in your own body, the mirror of their anxiety, the echo of their anticipation. They are standing at the edge of the final decision. The silence is dead. The message is alive. And the impact of that ping hitting your screen is the only judgment they are finally ready to face. They are not ready for a negative response. They are not prepared for rejection. But they are sending the message anyway, because the possibility of a positive response has become more valuable than the certainty of silence. They are betting on you. They are betting on the connection. They are betting that the love they feel is not one-sided, that the distance was not permanent, that the door has not been locked from the inside. And as their thumb finally presses the send button, as the message disappears from their screen and travels through the invisible networks toward you, they exhale. For the first time in days, weeks, months, they exhale. The pressure releases. The weight lifts. The message is out. The waiting is over. Now they wait for you. And now, my child, as we come to the very end of this sacred message, I want you to sit quietly with yourself for just one final moment. Not to analyze, not to overthink, but simply to breathe and let everything you have heard settle deep into your heart. You have learned that your soulmate is about to reach out. You have learned that the battle of the draft is over. You have learned that the message is coming, and when it arrives, it will carry the weight of surrender. And now, standing on the other side of this revelation, you are not meant to be afraid. You are meant to be ready. The text is coming, the truth is rising, and what has been held back will soon be released. So go forward, my child, not in fear but in faith, not in doubt but in certainty, not in hiding but in full, radiant confidence. You are protected, you are favored, you are chosen, and I am with you always. The waiting is over, the message is on its way. And the best part of your story is still ahead. Go in peace. You are never alone.